Hi, Deacon John Wilson here. I'm the Education Enrichment Director for West Angeles Church. I'm going to quickly run through the FAFSA process with you, but you need to file it. I mean, I keep hearing people saying it. The deadline was December 1st. It wasn't. It hasn't even opened yet. The deadline is the various deadline dates for financial aid for the various schools. Like here in California, April 2nd is the deadline. So I want you to hurry, but don't rush. Sure, a lot of private schools are due in February and March. That's why I say hurry, but don't rush. A lot of you haven't even gotten your FAFSA usernames and passwords, and that's really going to be critical this year. I already had a couple of people running into problems who gave me their information early to file it for them, and I'll show you how we can help you with that as well. But you need to. I know it's the new year is going to hit, and you're going to be busy leading up to it, and afterwards you're just going to kind of relax because of the holidays. Some of you take that next week off and you have things planned, and we really don't come back down from the holiday till the second week of January, and that's dangerous this year. If you have a 12th grader that's headed for college, file that FAFSA. Let's plan to do it. If you've never filed a FAFSA, you may want to consider getting us to help you by filing it for you, or you may want to come to me for consultative help. But do something to get that FAFSA filed. Hurry, but do not rush. Let me go through a few facts about the FAFSA with you now. All right, let's look at the financial aid review and award process. So I want you to have a good overview understanding of that, first of all. Okay. First of all, the custodial parents' tax information. Notice I said custodial because some of you are single parents or you're separated. And so whoever took care of the child most of the year is the custodial parent. And they need to provide have their tax information available for the 24-25 FAFSA. And that's the 2022 tax information, by the way, if you're wondering. It's the 2022 federal income tax information. There's going to be a FAFSA that's filed, and there's going to be some kind of verification of the information most times, or a lot of times. Not all the time. Depends on how much federal Pell Grant you have. But the 22 federal income tax transcripts and forms is what the government's going to use. Actually, the tax transcripts you'll send to them, and they'll verify the information in the FAFSA. Remember, it's 2022 federal tax information, not 23. So some people think it's their income this year, and they want to look at this year's situation because they make less money, but it's not based on 23, based on 22. Okay. Then there'll be some kind of financial reward. And there may not be any review by the schools, no verification. So they don't look at your stuff. It is going what you've provided on the form. And those will be cases where you provide an income that's way above for a federal Pell Grant, so you don't have a mandatory verification, and you get a financial aid award. Some of you will have CS profile financial aid review. In other words, there's going to be an additional financial aid form called the CSS profile. I won't say too much about this today. I'll probably talk about it later in a little more detail, okay? And that takes an uploaded tax return to a third-party organization because it's illegal for the schools, except in one case I'm aware of, to get the financial aid, get the tax return forms. It's the tax transcript that they would ask for. But you need to use that to file your FAFSA. How about that? Okay, and you need to have filed for 2022, we think, under this new FAFSA. It's automatically going to populate, but you need to have filed your 2022 tax year. If you didn't file, I'm not sure what this new form will do. It used to be you could type in the data manually and file later, but I can't, I don't know yet. But nobody knows yet. Then you'll have a financial aid award, and you could have a non-custodial parent information that's needed. So if you raised a child and you took care of them, but then their father is not immediately available, the school may require that information, but not on the FAFSA. FAFSA doesn't require that. It's going to be on that CSS profile. Again, I'll cover that some other time, but this is basically on this chart here is the financial aid award process. Over 800 colleges do have the CSS profile, and 640 of them have a non-custodial parent requirement. The FAFSA does not currently. We believe will eventually will be enforced in that system, but we're not sure how they're going to verify it this year, so nobody's saying much about it. I may have more to say about that after I actually see the form. There's some other facts you need to consider real quick, and I'll try to keep this short. FAFSA stands for Free Application for Federal Student Aid. So not FAFSA, but FAFSA. Free Application for Federal Student Aid, so it's FAFSA. The FAFSA for 2024-25 is based on the 2022 income, okay? Not 23. Made that change in 2015. The FAFSA will be available sometime this month, meaning sometime in December. Well, we now know it's going to probably be December 31st. It could be next week sometime, but we'll have to wait and see. I would, if I was a government, I'd drop it next week while people are on vacation, so that if they want to work on it, they can. We're kind of a break at the end of the year, but I don't know. I think the whole thing's being handled wrong, but what do I know? Colleges no longer require a tax return. If you make less than $50,000, they'll require a federal tax transcript to verify your entries. Some private schools also require the CS profile, which is a College Board document, by the way, that provides, listen closely, additional information above and beyond the FAFSA. And again, I'll have a separate video on the CS profile. However, you do know I said the CS profile may require the non-custodial parent information. You got a pretty good chance, 75% chance that it will, that they'll require it. But the FAFSA only requires information for one parent. Okay? A few more things. The FAFSA is not wholly user-friendly. It is highly likely that you will make a mistake if it's your first time. Usually the mistake is not critical, but sometimes it is. If this new form, I don't know what to expect. Here's what you will need to file the FAFSA. FAFSA username and password for both youth and parents. Stop. You need to order a username and password. I'm going to talk about how to do that in just a minute. You both need one, a username and a password. The 22 federal tax return, and you're going to go to FAFSA.gov. Actually, it says .ed.gov. Either will work. Now, you don't need the tax return to send to the schools, but you will need the information from the tax return to do the FAFSA or either complete a data sheet for us. If you're filing a use FAFSA, go to the following document. You can get a detailed procedure. Okay? I'll provide a link to this presentation in the description block below. Mistakes on the FAFSA also happen in the follow-up phase, like most of the big ones do. When colleges begin to ask you questions, you get nervous, you think you need to make a change to the FAFSA. You have to know what you're doing when you change your FAFSA. Please, no youth should file their own FAFSA. Somebody out there is having your youth file their FAFSA, or you're having the school file it. I would not do that. I would do it yourself or have me do it for you. Don't let people at the school do it. They make mistakes. They're going to have your tax information too. But they be careful with it. You want somebody else all into your business. So no youth should file their own FAFSA, nobody else. We do FAFSAs. We've been trained by the federal government. We do it for a very, very small fee. Don't let some high price organization price you out on it. Don't let a commercial service file that FAFSA. Okay? Other considerations. Order your username and password today. I should have an S on that because the student needs a username and password and the parents need a username and password. Here's where you can go to create it, or you just Google create FAFSA username and password, press enter, you'll go there too. Remember, youth and the parent each need a FAFSA. Yeah, there I go, I'm saying it again. The important thing is to allow us to test it. You will test it for you. Once you get the username and password, let us test it for you. We can make sure it works. Okay, it's the one thing that delays FAFSAs the most is that you have an improper username and password. And there are a number of things that can cause that. Take the time to order your username and password today. Don't wait. If you wait the last minute and you try to do it, you have problems with your username and password, it's can make you miss the financial aid deadline for real. Not the one people pretending it's December 31st. December 31st is not the deadline, but you're going to be thinking that and be worried, but it's not. January 1st is not, and it's not true the earlier you file, the more money you get. If you miss the priority deadline, yes, it will hurt you. But that's why they have priority deadlines. So they consider all the people prior to the priority deadline are considered equally. Now, we get to be a continuing student, it's a little different, but it's pretty much the same too. Just be on time. When continuing students are late, they get less money. Important tips when creating the username, but it's pretty important. Both student and parent must create one, and there I go saying it again. So it's very important. Each student should use their names, listen to this, as they appear on each's social security card. I had a couple of cases already this year where what was on that social security card did not match the name the student was using or the last name of one of the parents. You don't necessarily mean the ID or how you are known. Watch out for assumed names after a divorce. The name may be hyphenated or have an apostrophe in it, but the last name may be hyphenated after marriage, and that's the way it is on the card, but you got to know that. Or it might be the name prior to marriage on that social security card. You must use the names that appear as they appear on the social security card. But you won't learn of all these mistakes unless you start now. Get that username and password now, tonight. When making the FAFSA username, keep it simple. Don't have a weird username and password. Don't use any suggested passwords from Apple or something. Make it reasonable. Here's a good username. First initial, last name, 4 or 5 numbers. Keep it real simple. First initial, last name, 4 or 5 numbers. Password, same thing, 4 letters, 1 capitalized, 4 numbers, and 1 special character. Keep it really simple, okay? Keep it simple. Don't make these usernames and passwords too complex. You'll fool yourself. Yes, we do FAFSAs that over 1,000 the last 5 years. Email Quinn Davis at quindavis. You can see it right there. Email her for the link to the data form. Okay? You will need a functioning username and password to complete our form. You will need to consult your completed 2022 federal income tax return to complete our data form. The donation for completion is $51. But look what we'll do. We'll file it, do any additional filings that come up. Sometimes there's additional filings. If you have more than 10 schools, we got to make sure all of them get on there. And we'll answer any correspondence from the school, all of that for a donation of $51. We'll also have money to help our foster kids who don't have parents to pay for the forms. And we want to follow yours all the way through the awarding of the financial aid and through any loans that you might need, okay? So make that request if you want us to be involved. Email Quinn Davis at the email above, address above, and get that form from us. The FAFSA deadlines for colleges start in late January for a few private colleges, also February and March. The CSU deadline has been introduced as April 2nd now. It's been delayed to April 2nd. So get those due dates straight and as straight as you can get them right now, okay? It's very important. All right, that's about all I have for now. Again, I hope you noted all the information I gave you. Get started on your FAFSA today. God bless you. Bye-bye now.